So that's it. This is it. So story time. Story time. There's a story that's that's coming along in this apparent introduction that suggests that it's generally accepted in the illusory artificial reality that it's the norm that, and it's the norm and it's generally accepted that there's somewhere that we're all going, that there's a we, and that we're all going somewhere, and that choices can be made and should be made, and we should be moving in this direction or that direction, and that we can progress, and that we're always going through a process. And the we and the I and the me, the you and this and that is all crucial to this story, that we can choose how to live and we can follow a set of guidelines and principles, precepts, ethics, and all the rest of it. Make steady choices or erratic choices to get somewhere, to be going in a direction. And there's the projected destination, which is a bit like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, really. And if we make the right choices with our own control, then we can get closer and maybe one day even arrive at the end of the rainbow, where everything will be whole again. And it is rather without compromise exposed that this is total illusion, that the whole thing is an illusion, that the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is an illusion, and that the real felt sense that we can get to that destination is also illusory. So the journey and the destination are both illusory. The subject and the object are illusory. And the moving towards or away from anything is also illusory, because there is no real separation. There is no real distance. There's no real progress or process, because everything is already totally complete. That's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And that's also the apparent feeling separate or at a distance from it. It's all already what is. This boundless freedom, which is already everything, doesn't need anything from anyone. It's already done. Boundless freedom, being boundless, being unconditional, being totally, by definition, beyond direction and dimension, is already completely fulfilled. It never wasn't. You know, the appearance of moving towards or away from it is simply just an appearance. And that is also completion. The appearance, the apparent appearances, the seeming this and the seeming that is also completion. The sense that it isn't completion is completion. The disagreeing and saying this is all total gibberish, nonsense, ridiculous is completion. The belief that this could be the truth is completion. There is only completion. Misinterpretation, apparently conceptually understanding, resonating, resisting, whatever happens is all unconditional freedom. It's all unconditional love. The word unconditional can't be comprehended because it's unconditional. Only conditioned things apparently get comprehended. But the unconditional is all there is. And being unconditional, it appears to be conditioned. And that is absolute freedom, which isn't known. It can't be known. So everything that's being spouted is nothing to do with knowledge, knowing, or known things. There's nothing behind the words. There's nothing in front of the words. There's no position whatsoever. There's no here and there. There's no inside or outside. There's not even a now and then. There's just the total raw singular immediacy, which is free all by itself. It's not self. Yeah. And that exposure comes about, apparently, and it might apparently be heard. It might apparently be totally filtered out. And so, excuse me, what did you just say? It's all done. It's all done. Yeah, no agenda with that. Meaningless expression of nothing, which is so free. Free of needing anyone to accept or agree with it. Free of needing someone to say it or be behind it. Free altogether. Yeah. A freedom that just can't be comprehended or known about. That's all there is. So non-duality essentially exposes that freedom is all there is already. Freedom is not objectifiable. It can't be moved towards or away from. It can't be missed. It can't be found. It's all there is. The going after it is freedom. There is only freedom.
Alexis, it's extraordinary what you just said. The lines, "It's done. It's already done."
Mm.
It's almost heretical because it destroys any idea of any path or any religion or any activity or anything that could possibly bring it about.
Mm.
Um, it's just so powerful to think of it that it's done. I mean, you've got the appearance of thousands of years of religious endeavor just negated just by that extraordinary revelation. Yet it's true.
Yeah.
And that all these discussions, it really hit me that all the questions that are asked or answered, it's nothing to do. It can only ever be from the point of view of an illusory separate self. It's not even happening. There is only all that there is, and it's done. And it's just unbelievable.
Mm.
I, I mean, obviously, I'd heard this before, but it was just so dramatic when it hits you, and you don't know what's going on in the appearance of the brain, but it responds differently to it seems like it's not taking imprints of information because
Mm.
it's developing in this sort of in between period apparently uh the brain's moving in a different way because it's sort of do you know, I'm not going to pursue this because it's a story from within the story, isn't it? It's a confusing thing after you've had a glimpse or two and then you're contracted again. I don't know if you in your story were toing and froing, but the more potently you paint the picture, it seems like the more you're falling into that nothingness. And
Mm.
that my all-time favorite ever line of the Saint Ramakrishna. He said, "I am the man made of salt who went to measure the depth of the ocean." I mean, isn't that beautiful?
Mm. Yeah. Energy is all there is yet. And there's nothing.
It's just so moving. Yeah, sorry, there's no question there. Just sharing there.
Mm. Yes. All attempts to go somewhere are appearances of nothing, pretending to be something.
You know, when you were using the phrase total freedom before, it's 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 not like it's freedom from anything or freedom for anyone even.
No.
It's such freedom. If something's non-dual, I suppose you can't have two things from whence one would be free from the other. I mean, it's just
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah.
a frozen explosion of freedom.
Yes. Yes. Freedom that appears as the need to define freedom.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's almost like the contracted. It seems like the contracted, apparent contracted sense of self, like takes a photograph and freezes the anarchic, nebulous, like formless everything, and says, "Ah, it's from my point of view, in this time. This is space. This is the story." And it tries to capture that which cannot be captured. It feels like that almost.
Mm. Yes. Yeah. Unconditional freedom being beyond polarity, therefore not existing in relation to confinement or any other term. Confinement, imprisonment, all of that is also unconditional freedom. Yeah. Yeah. There is only unconditional freedom or total absolute freedom or whatever else. But, the word is just,
Yeah, I get what you're saying because we understand these words in contradistinction to its opposite. So you say something like meaning, or you could say it's meaningless, but that implies that there's a possibility for there to be a meaning. There's not even the possibility for it to be meaningful. So it's
yeah.
not just meaningless, it's beyond that because it's so meaningless, there's not even the chance or there's not even the concept of meaning to be available for something to be meaningless.
Mm.
It's so totally free, it seems.
Yeah, totally free. Yeah. So free that whatever is appearing is what is. Yeah. Yeah.
So say that again. So free.
It's so free that whatever's appearing is unconditional freedom. Nothing is excluded. And even the apparent appearance of exclusion is also freedom. There is only freedom.
Hi, Alexis.
Hello.
It's very surprising that, since words don't, have no meaning, that it could have an effect on the body,
Apparent.
apparent effect. Oh yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
yes. I mean, meing is meaning, meaning is the appearance of meaning. Me depends on meaning. Outside of the story of me and the appearance of the energy of separation, there's no meaning. Yeah.
And knowing.
No knowing. Yeah. So yes, separation, knowing, owning, meaning, resistance, seeking, these are all illusory appearances in the apparent illusory artificial reality.
Like recently, like, there's only immediacy, so it was like trying to tell itself there's only immediacy, just
Yeah.
like a practice, and when I just listen to the words you just said in your introduction, well, it's incredible. I just lost what I want to say. Oh, yeah. It's like impossible. It will, anything will be impossible to know. It's impossible. Well, apparently, there's knowing, but unknowing will always stay unknown. You know, it's impossible to know immediacy.
Mm.
This is strange. Yeah, the me is knowing. And it wants to survive with the knowing.
And it's not really happening.
And it's not really happening. But something pretends that it's happening. And this is it too. Hmm.
Yeah. Knowing requires distance and separation. There is no such thing. It's an illusory appearance, and no one could ever know that. No one could ever know that unknowing is all there is. So
And
it's spontaneity.
there's nothing to do about that. I
No,
mean,
no
what
unknowns
happens, or not
already.
already. Mm. Mm. This is so crazy because it wants to know why it's searching. Well, it's searching. I think I'm getting mad. I'm getting, I mean, it's like anger is coming up.
Hmm.
Hmm. Thank you, Alexis. Like everything is for no reason. It happens, it happens. It's crying or it's laughing, whatever. In a way, it's like all of this circus is it's like I don't know how to say it, but it's like it was always known. I mean, that it's like that. I don't know what's knowing that. I don't know. And even this is impossible that the me knows anything because it's illusory. Oh my god, this is crazy. I'll leave it there.
And everything that's appearing is unconditional freedom, which is actually nothing at all. Even anger, crying, sadness, devastation, despair, hopelessness, worry, it's all unconditional free.
And at the same time, I feel so much love,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah. Me often wants a better experience. What could happen is that me just simply dies, and whatever is happening just is what it is.
In a way, it is already like that.
Yes. Yeah.
It's already what's happening. And
It's already agendaless. The appearance of someone having an agenda is a dream, which is also freedom of obviously. There's nothing right or wrong with any of it. Why can't I get this? Why can't I wake up? Why can't I fall away? There's no need for anyone to fall away. There already is no one to fall away. It's already complete.
but still something wants something.
And that's
You
also
know?
unconditional freedom.
Yeah.
Inescapable freedom. Inescapable freedom.
Mm. Mm. It's like I feel like intimate. Well, that word comes up. I don't know. It's like intimate. I don't even know what it means.
Well, in this sense, as far as non-duality or this apparent communication is concerned, intimacy is a synonym for non-separation. Intimacy being an apparent antonym to personal. Impersonal intimacy. It's so immediate. It's not close. There's no distance.
And still at the same time, I feel, this thing, just like there's no difference between resistance and And freedom. Because this is it. And there's nothing.
Yeah, because freedom is all there is. And the appearance of resistance is freedom resisting.
So nothing means anything.
No. There's no need for anything to mean anything. Only the sense of me needs meaning. Me often longs, or often or all the time, longs for a deeper meaning to what is because it's dissatisfied with the separation experience. And it is the separation experience. And so it seeks and longs and resists. It longs for something else. It resists what is. So in this dream, creates a meaning that this, what is so unbearable. So to make it more bearable, I will apply a meaning to it so that one day it will be better. Meaning is resistance. When this whole artificial dream apparently collapses, meaning is totally redundant. There's no need for meaning outside of this illusory dream because everything is already complete as it is. It's already whole and free. That's not good or bad. It's the end of the polarity. And it's directionless. You see, meaning is also requiring a destination, a direction. There's no direction. Completeness is all there is. It's everything. So that couldn't be moved towards or away from. So meaning, purpose, significance, intention, this all falls apart.
I have such a headache. It's like my head wants to crack.
Mm, mm.
Well, let's do it.
Mm.
Oh, inescapable.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
Um, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Is it Ollie? Ollie, who you're just talking to there? Is that Ollie? You were just speaking to Ollie. You were mentioning immediacy,
Mm.
and it's not something that I'd thought about much before. But that's another very unusual and interesting thing because there is this. It's almost like there's what appears, but there's not a secondary comment on it. It's not. Maybe it's just the fact that it's not viewed in a subject object paradigm, but that immediacy is when I've glimpsed it is a very unusual and do you think it's just the absence that felt or temporary absence of a me is just it means there's sitting on a bed as opposed to I'm sitting on a bed, but
Yeah.
it's very total. It's very it's not just sitting on a bed. That's a dismissible idea. It's like sitting on a bed, you
Yeah.
know?
It's
And,
amazing.
could you expand on that? What's your what how do you feel? I mean, what do you think about that?
I like the word total. Yeah. Total, total absolute freedom is sitting on a bed. Yeah. It's like the most mundane, simple, ordinary, no thing, and it's absolutely everything. It's like, you know, the the kingdom of heaven, or like the most
Utterly unknowable.
dramatic word, like the absolute, unconditional, boundless aliveness of total freedom is sitting on a bed. Yeah. It's all there is. It's amazing. What more could be needed, or wanted? It's incredible. Yeah. Me is like, oh, that's bloody boring or something, but it's just
But that's so true, isn't it? Though I mean, that for the me, that's just is sitting on the bed. You'll be looking for another experience. What you're thinking about, what's coming next. It's just. But I think when the story starts to collapse and time stops being so evident, it's almost like a little child. They're just totally there and satisfied in what they're doing. And I don't mean in some Eckhart Tollean way of like acknowledging the now. It's just undefinable,
yeah,
indefinable and boundless.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. Mm. And immediate, yes. So it's immediate because like there's just no immediacy is the apparent antonym to distance. So this whole subject object reality being totally illusory and unreal, immediacy is all there is. Yeah, there is only immediacy. It's just this sort of magic dream, like a magic trick of a dream of a something feeling separate from something else. And this seems to, the illusion is that seems to create a sense of being separate and distanced from this and that.
but like when that thing happened the other day, you couldn't say that there was a time where there was a me there because there wasn't time with a past to put that event in,
Yeah,
and because it's just everything, it makes no sense that there's a this and a that and a
mm,
then and so it's just it it never happened. There never was that story in a me.
exactly. Yeah, the apparent glimpse is the total absence of a sense of anyone having a glimpse, and therefore total absence of a sense that there ever was anything else other than a not glimpse. Yeah.
Wow, that's a sentence and a half. That wow, yeah. But it's too hard for me to describe. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
And then apparently after the glimpse, as though there was really an after, um, there's the glimpse, the apparent glimpse gets put into a timeline and then becomes another something or another event that was about me and I had a glimpse and
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
another glimpse will happen. So it distorts it. The story distorts the glimpse as an event that happened in time and maybe it will happen again. Yeah.
yeah. I would definitely have put my put former glimpses and my response to them in that category. But after listening to that day one on Brighton, it was a different thing because it's exactly like you say. It's that for the apparent me now, I can't put that in time or anything because it was the substratum or the revealed reality of the total. And in that is all. So there's nothing that could be extracted from it, nor anything that could extract something from it. It is total,
It's all right.
absolutely beyond time.
Yeah. It's all right.
It's like you touch infinite nothingness and boom, you're sort of subsumed into it.
Hmm. Mhm. I think Abby wanted to say something.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Oh,
I mean, there were several stories, excuse me, in the queue. I mean, on this side of the pond, we say lined up in the line, but they're all they kind of collapse. But I'll tell one of them for the fun of it.
yeah.
When is it Tobias?
Yeah.
Is that
Mhm.
okay. When Tobias first spoke, I had the thought that you, Alexis, are a stand-in for uh, us. A stand-in for not where we're going, but from where so-called we so-called already are. So yeah, I got a kick out of that. So that's that story, and I'll rest my case.
Mm. Or there is no we.
Yeah, right. There's no case.
Yeah.
And there's no stand-in.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no we, there's no separation. It's already absolute freedom. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have another little story. This morning I decided I would call Tony.
Oh.
And it's well, yeah. And then I couldn't find his number. And then it was, it's an hour too late because we have to call by 7 a.m. our time to get to Tony by noon.
Mm.
But anyway, I was so touched by the idea of talking to Tony that I just couldn't, there were just tears. And I mean, it's so funny because it doesn't matter if I talk to Tony or not. You know, it was so talking to Tony. It became apparent that I couldn't be more thrilled and moved in my than in my imagination about talking to Tony than in so-called actually talking to Tony. Anyway, there's that story. The rest of the stories where they fell like dominoes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Could I ask you, Alexis, in your story, would you say that there was anything that, not that you had to understand, that positively caused the me to fall away? I know that's a riddle, but was there something that, oh, some block that you overcame or some insight that you found? You can't frame it like that. It just doesn't make sense when you, isn't it? It's funny. We keep trying to reframe things in the position of
Yeah.
subject and object, and it's just not doable, is it?
Mm.
Yeah,
And
I remember asking Jim once a similar question, and I said, "Was there something that finally really helped or had to make the me felt away?" He goes, "Well, shall I tell you?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, tell me." He goes, "Do you really want to know?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Nothing." Nothing
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely, of course. And
yeah.
me might, want to impose its sense of specialness onto a speaker, but it has to be said that there's no specialness, and no one ever achieves anything. Yeah.
The most shock. Sorry.
Well, one perhaps last thing to say about that is that this, what's being shared and communicated is totally humiliating. It's humiliating because it's like it's a joke, and there's no one to get anything, to find anything out, to impress anyone, to prove oneself,
Mm.
to become honored or worthy, because there's already completeness. Yeah, without me.
Well, that's the words, isn't it? Without me, the most shocking thing.
With or
If,
without me, in a way, yeah, with or without me, because the whole story of the whole apparent appearance of a story of me is also completeness, but it's not required or necessary. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
is the fact that it's impersonal that's so shocking. That there's never was a need for there to be people inside those people, inside those apparent people. There never. It was so totally impersonal. It was like a play of light, and the dream, not that anyone's having the dream, seems to be of. Sometimes I've heard people say it's a dream of the real, but it's like a dream of personhood, of identity. That was the 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 start or the central point of the illusion, is that there is someone there at all having that illusion or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yes.
how could a person ever conceive of the impersonal?
Yeah. Yeah. It's totally humiliating, blasphemous, total
Mm.
despair, and yet the most liberating non-thing could ever be, not comprehended, but like percolating, for one person.
Percolating.
I don't
Can
know what
you
word
repeat that?
They're asking you to repeat that.
Yeah, it's despair, it's blasphemy, it's humiliation, and yet it's total, absolute liberation. The liberation that is so liberating that no one could possibly bear it, because there already is no one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So radical does seem to be apparently appropriate word, but it can't legitimately be called radical non-duality. That's ridiculous. There's a radical, it's like the nature of what's being said is so incredibly radical, but it's not radical non-duality, because there is only non-duality. There's not different types of non-duality. That's the contradiction, that you could put a label. I mean, even the word non-duality is a label, so even that's ridiculous. But to say this is radical non-duality and that's not radical non-duality just doesn't make any sense, and it's misleading. But what is being shared is of a seemingly radical, because it's so like absolute, so absolutely everything.
How could you be more radical?
The me always thinks that there's an advantage, with the absence. I mean,
Hmm. Yeah.
since me know me is freedom already, there's no difference and there's no advantage.
Yes. Yes, because the another, you know, another illusory attribute of this dream is relating. So all the time there's this illusory separation experience, is the sense that I'm relating to you and you and you and this and that. I'm relating to my ideas, thoughts, beliefs, opinions. I'm relating to perceptions. And so what it might do is relate to the notion that there's a no one and a someone, like there's a real difference. But this whole relating dream collapses. So there's no acknowledgement that there's even a difference between anything, because there isn't a between.
Hmm.
Am I still unmuted?
No, you're yes, you're unmuted, yeah.
Okay. I love that. I love that you use the word unbearable.
Mm.
That, yeah.
The word unbearable, yeah.
Alexis, I remember, when I like consciously, well, there was like um, a, a thought coming saying that can be, only this, and it's still like doesn't want that only this, but really, I mean, wanting or not wanting doesn't mean anything. Yeah, this is like freedom. There's no difference between anything.
Mm.
So wanting or not, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's why it says, I mean, it said it is done. I guess.
Mm.
It's funny because like there's speaking of the falling away, or when the falling away comes, but falling away or no falling away, I mean, what's that?
Yeah. It's
What's that? What's fucking that?
yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, what the fuck is that? It's
Yeah.
the falling away is an illusion.
Ugh.
Yeah, because the collapse of that which isn't real is as illusory. Yeah. There already is nothing to fall away. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, to me, always think something's gonna happen. There's like a need for something to happen in the future. It will never happen in the future.
Yes.
No future.
Yes. It's,
And
it can be like a child having a tantrum when it's like, come on, I need something to happen. And this just says, no, there's nothing that needs to happen. Nothing is already happening. It's like, no, but I need something to happen. It's like, no, there's no you. There's no need either. There's already nothing.
And you know, Alexis, I just can't remember what was just said. It's gone.
Yes. Nothing was said. Yeah, nothing happened. You know, like I'd better listen really carefully because I might miss this otherwise.
Um,
I mean, me might even think that what's being shared is really important somehow, and I can tell you for sure that that's an absolute joke. This is not like this is like possibly the least important thing that could ever be talked about or not talked about.
That should be your strap line underneath it on a banner for your website. This is the least important thing you'll ever hear about.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. It's a crap sales pitch, isn't it?
It's not good, mate.
Uh,
You're guaranteed to get nothing from this meeting.
oh God. Yeah.
If you feel you have got something, you've misunderstood.
Yeah. If you feel like you've got something out of this, please call the emergency services immediately. Yeah. Or write a complaint. Write us a complaint if you feel like we've helped you.
If you've benefited in any way.
I was recently watching Tony's one of Tony's meetings in Salisbury, and someone was talking about it, and he was saying, "Oh, the person talking was saying, oh, thanks so much," and Tony was like, "Oh God, have I helped you?" Oh, amazing.
That's why I'm such a fan of the word Vedanta. I mean, the literal meaning of the end of the Vedas, or the end of knowing or teaching. The point where knowing and teaching stops.
Yes. Yes.
It's a lovely understanding of that word.
Yes. Mm. Mm.
So Alexis, hello.
Okay.
So even when it seems that there is a me, there isn't really.
Yeah.
No.
What seems to be is just an energy, like an energy, a felt sense, for want of a better term, a felt sense of energy of here, and then perhaps a claim that someone is here. Yeah.
Yeah.
The claim is like a phantom, it's like a ghost or something.
and it is what's happening.
It's all what's apparently happening. Yeah. To use that endlessly repeated term that never ever even got said.
Yeah. And it kind of, it claims itself in a way, yes? It is aware of itself.
Well, the sort of, again, the energy, the felt sense of localization seems to emerge self-awareness. and other awareness. So the awareness is like also the dream of localization and being local. There's a sense of there. So here and there. And the there, this is the awareness comes in because there's a sense of I'm aware of this, I'm aware of that. And the thought.
And the falling away happens completely independent of anything.
Well, it's not really dependent or independent because there's no real separation. So the thing is about all of this is that you know, the word dependence also totally collapses in every single respect. So dependence, independence, interdependence, and codependence all totally fall apart because there's no two. So all of those variations require duality. And also difference and sameness also fall away because there's no two for there to be the same or different from. And so the falling away is not because of or in spite of anything, because there is already nothing.
I have this ball in my throat and it's waiting to be swallowed. What a story.
Or regurgitated.
Mm.
Well, everybody, thanks so much. Much love. Much love.
Thanks so much, Alexis. Mm.